Alright, so this is April 13th, 2015, session with Greg. Getting ready to get started here. We just got through the March, April, May Mastery webinars. Make sure you watch all three of those if you haven't. There's replays in your members area. We covered, the main stuff that I use to rank, which is basic on page, URL and anchor text combination type stuff, which is the biggest. Then, of course, I went detailed into PBNs, how I look for them, questions about hosting, linking, all that type of stuff. So, and then a little bit about social. So just make sure you go and watch those webinars if you have not. Alright, so let me start. Alright, from Yasin, is it good to have long EMD URL like I wanted to buy personal injury lawyer Maryland.com and rent that site out to a lawyer? I wouldn't necessarily say it's good. I mean, sometimes they work, sometimes they seem to have trouble the longer they are, so I mean that one's like borderline, that length for me. Like if I was going after that term, that'd be a hard decision. Um, If that were me, what I would maybe do is or a partial match EMD for that to make it a little shorter. Maybe like personalinjurymaryland.com or something like that. Or even like injurylawyermaryland.com. I'd probably leave out one word. Because I don't necessarily love longer EMDs or playing with that, because they can get a little tricky. So yeah, likely with that one, I'll probably shorten it up and make it partial if you wanted an EMD. Alright, from Yasin, I have a website stuck on the bottom of page 2. Should I send more PBNs to it, or can I put the website and the social media sites for that website on Social Explosion? Would that help? I was thinking about putting as many social properties on the RSS feed and my PBNs that I use to link to the money site, and then also put my money site on Social Explosion. That should help tremendously, right? I mean, from my experience, Social Explosion alone doesn't really move a site. Um, it's more like it helps power for me, more I use it to like power my links to make them kind of more natural. Not saying like it can't help with movement, but like Social Explosion alone for me doesn't really move sites. It might like a very little bit, but when you mix it together with everything else, that's when you'll see it start to see better movement. At least from my data. So it could move it a very little bit. But in my experience, you're probably going to need some more links with Social Explosion to help it out. I mean, that's just my experience. Alright, to rank social properties on the first page, just to fully understand, we can fire links at Facebook and Twitter with links that we want to rank for, and not worry about over-optimization. Correct? No, not correct. Treat them like a money site. But if we fire links to social properties, will it affect our money site if it's linked from the social properties? Is that what you guys did for National SEO First Page Domination? No, again, just treat them like they're money sites. Alright, because you don't want to over-optimize even for a social property. You get away with more because they're higher domain authority, but for the long term, it's better just to treat it like a money site. Don't over-optimize it. Not saying it won't work now, but for the future, they've cut down that over the years. Like a Twitter page or a Facebook, you could send 100% same URL just a year ago, and now they've really cut back on that. And my opinion is they'll continue to cut back on that in certain ways. So, I mean, just treat it like a money site, in my opinion. From Bud. What's up, Bud? I'm brand new to OMG. Would like to sell my news release service to small business clients generated by OMG methods rather than cold calling. Alright, yeah, but I mainly cover SEO stuff on my webinars. But, yeah, if you have any questions about SEO type stuff, just throw them in there. And if you have questions about, like, selling, like, if that's actually a question you're trying to get to, Cotton or Fletch would be great for that. Alright, from Norman. What do you think about TLDs from other countries like .co.uk.nl for PBNs? They were English sites with English backlinks. Are these good for PBNs? Who do you use for foreign domain name registration? I haven't messed too much with that, Norman, so I can't tell you. I don't have too much data on that. I pretty much use all English type TLDs. Mostly com, org, net, and then I have some infos, .us, but mostly they're .com, .net, .org. All right, from Ben, I think I gotta get a new screenshot. His question's a little longer. There we go. Alright, this is from Ben here. I don't understand Google. I've been following the 2015 OTS pretty closely, applying it to my law firm site for the keyword Los Angeles business lawyer. I was on page 19 for over a year before I started applying the PBN reload system in mid-Feb. I then did a bunch of citations, went up to page 13, but after a week fell back down to page 18 and 22. In late March, I began PBN reloaded with a single PBN shot up to page 2. Then after a week, I fell to page 7 for a few days, and then to page 16, where I hovered for about 3 weeks. Last weekend I did PBN number 2 against Social Explosion and VCrack, and again after 2 days of no movement, I shot up to page 1. But I am afraid it will once again only last a week, and then I'll fall back to page 395 or something. How to make these rankings increase stick. As time goes on, Ben, they'll stick more. Alright? The fact that you're actually seeing it shot up to page 1 is a very good sign. And you might move back down for a little bit, but usually you're going to move back up to where you were, or even further ahead than that. As time goes on, especially in a law firm niche. I noticed with like more competitive niches, you see a lot more jumping around. And I think that's just kind of Google like testing the waters, making sure people, because a lot of people they'll see that movement, they'll make drastic decisions like send a ton more links or change stuff on page or just keep calm. It usually pans out. For Christina, thanks in advance for taking my questions. Absolutely. These questions are about the same 3 client sites. My client's 3 sites have content already on them. The only on-site anchor text and backlinking goes to the gallery pages and no keywords at all. I am moving the site to a new host and have them on a development URL set to not have Google crawl. There are probably 20 plus content pages on each site and many pages of galleries. This client wants to rank for hundreds of keywords locally and for his profession. Questions to follow. Alright, from the Riz. On a PBN site, let's say you have a strong one going with links to a money site or 2 from the blog post of 500 plus more words. Can you also use that site to occasionally drip links on a sidebar widget instead of building out a whole blog post, perhaps the social properties, etc.? Thanks as always. Yeah, you can do that. Just be careful how often you do it, I would say, at least to the same site, Riz. But yeah, I mean, I've done that where I'm like, I don't feel like creating a whole new post. I'll just do like a sidebar link, put in a small paragraph, and then link out to a social property. So I mean, pretty much exactly what you explained, I've done. So absolutely, I've done that. It works. I mean, even I showed this last coaching webinar. I've been messing around with just kind of putting old sites back up. And if we go search for Delaware Personal Chef. I did this for a site. Let's see where it's ranked now. I think we checked last time. It was like number 18. Here it is right here, number 19. I started at number 38. Here's the PBN I did it from. So for this particular PBN, I used the SERPT tool, or the OMG Command Center. Let me log in. Alright, let's see. I think it's under other tools. Yeah, Content Restorer. And all you do is you go here and then you put in the URL that they tell you to put in. And it will rebuild the site. Okay, so like for this site, it took 5 minutes, literally. All the pages, the old pages of the site are there. Then you click on something. There's that page there. Well, you can see it down here. Now, the site isn't built out pretty like it used to be, but I don't really care too much about that. I'll talk to Colin about fixing that if there's a way. But the main thing is, all I did was I just add a link to the footer. You can see down here. Actually, it looks like it's only on the home page. So it wasn't a site-wide link. Maybe I'll look into changing that to site-wide. But if we go to the home page, you see this link down here, Delaware Personal Chef. Literally, all I did was I went to the OMG Command Center, downloaded the old site, uploaded it to the server for this site, went into the HTML code and just put in this link. Took 5 minutes, and the site moved up 2 pages. And I didn't even add any text. There's no text on this page about personal chefs, cooking, nothing like that. It's just interesting, just adding a little line of text. You know, with the anchor text moves it up. So it just shows how far Google has to go with what some people say, you know, they're close to doing, because there's no reason that should move up a site. And if there's nothing else about chefs on the page, a link for a Delaware Personal Chef, in my opinion, shouldn't really move a site like that. But again, you know, I've talked about this a lot. I think Google's a long way from being where they need to be for that type of stuff. So, but yeah, that's all I did. Took 5 minutes, 2 page of movement. Let's see. Let's go get a new box. Alright, so here's Christina's questions. First question, can I add on-page anchor text with the page's keywords after the fact to the page published a year ago? I'm going through and fixing grammar and spelling. That should be great to do. You can mess with that slowly, Christina, and kind of see how it reacts. You're going to see more movement from off-page anchor text, though. Second question, there are very few title tags. I'll go over 70 characters and 0 meta tags and meta descriptions and a few H1 tags, 0 other H tags. Is there an easy way to add these to the pages without me having to type them all out on 200 plus site URLs without them? I use Screaming Frog SEO Spider to see these are missing, and I know that there should be no duplicates for this professional site. I would probably just worry more about the title tags. I don't do meta tags myself. Meta descriptions I kind of usually let Google pull. H1 tags I'll mess with if I need to. But I would mainly worry about the titles, and I would change them page to page because you want to get the most out of each page. Like whatever each page is targeting, make the title unique to that page to cover what keywords you're going after for that specific page. I mean, the title will really help. Third, should I try to get all this done before moving to the new host? It doesn't matter. I don't think that matters either way. From Douglas, I'm not clear on 2 things, keywords and anchor text, and more specifically the relationship between the 2 of them. When you speak of anchor text, you're mostly referring to incoming links. Yes. I get the concept of keywords and that the actual term you want to rank for has to appear somewhere on the page you want to rank. But when linking to that page from the outside, like a Web 2.0 site, YouTube video, or PBM, do you have to use that specific term as anchor text somewhere in order to rank for it? Not that specific term, Douglas, but usually that term has to be somewhere in the anchor text. So, if you got like Nashville SEO, let me see here. Let me bring up. This is my PBN content you guys are seeing. Alright, so let me see. So if you're trying to rank for like Nashville SEO, you don't necessarily need to send a link with Nashville SEO to rank for it. I mean, that's really going to help, depending what your current anchor text is. But I mean, stuff like the best Nashville SEO company, that will help you rank well for Nashville SEO because it's somewhere in the anchor text. All right. Even stuff like find a Nashville company that does SEO. Even this will help you rank for Nashville SEO because you got Nashville SEO, right? And then even separate anchor texts that have Nashville in one, SEO in the other, that can help you rank as well, especially down the line. We call that stringing. Alright, from Charles. Does site description matter in ranking context? Yes, it does. But again, I usually just let Google pull that. If I'm having trouble ranking a site, I might play with the meta description. But Usually I just kind of let Google pull that. All right. From Mac, I currently have a number of PBNs pointing to a client site, and most of the anchor text is not optimized as well as it could be. Will be okay to remove those PBN links by installing WordPress, writing a new article, and then point those same PBN links to the client's social properties with optimized anchor text. I prefer not to remove links if possible. If they're over optimized, maybe I would consider that. But if they're ranking at least decently, I'd probably just leave and then try to just do new links to kind of um, even out the anchor text. For example, if you're saying not optimized, for example, you didn't go after the keywords as aggressively as you should have, just do some new links with more aggressive keywords in them. Or if you did too much aggressive keywords, do some new links with less aggressiveness. That's usually where I start instead of removing links, because removing links can have kind of a weird effect sometimes. Um, so yeah, rather than removing them, I would just try to do additional and then offset whatever you did. I don't know exactly what you mean by not optimized as well as it could be. So whatever you need to fix, kind of just try to do it with new links. I mean, that's usually what I do. Alright, from Renita, how would you rank an extra long tail keyword to show a client a result quickly? I mean, you would include a lot of that long tail keyword in an anchor text for a link that you send to the site, Renita. So, if you're trying to rank for weight loss for women over 50, send a link that says weight loss for women over 50 as the anchor text. That's going to help you rank very well for that term. All right, just make sure you're not like over optimized on the page for that, because the longer the anchor text, the more trouble you can run into over optimization. If you, of course, you had, like I'm talking, if you had this exact term just too much on the page and the title and all that, you can run into problems. But typically, if you just send one link for this, that's all you're going to need for a term that long, as long as it's a decently strong PBN. Now, what you definitely wouldn't want to do is send two links with this same anchor text. That's too long to do. That's a lot different than sending two links that say Nashville SEO exactly. Because the chances of this happening, this exact anchor text happening twice, are much less than this anchor text happening twice, right? So you just want to send one anchor text with this, and then see how it moves, then maybe play with the on page, and if it doesn't get to where you want, you'd want to hit it in a different way. So maybe maybe something like how women over 50 lose weight, something like that. Like, you definitely wouldn't want to do this as twice in your anchor text. That's just too long of anchor text to do that with, unless you have tons and tons and tons of links and good domain authority. But if you need to send another link and this doesn't do it, you would want to do something like this, where you kind of say it in a different way, and that will help you out a lot. All right, from Christina. Okay, good. Steve, doing client SEO and affiliate, do you recommend building a PBN network for clients? Sorry, I almost sneezed. Do you recommend building a PBN network for clients and a separate one for affiliate sites, or can I use the same network for clients and affiliate sites? Steve, you can use the same network for both, but it's just a little more risky. Typically, I would create a network for clients, and then a network for my affiliate stuff. That's typically what I do. Just because if the two get mixed and something does get found out, it could take out everything. So, I mean, it works to do both on the same PBN, but you're just being more risky with it. That's all. From Norman, can you talk about how do you go about rethinking PBNs if you're going to use an old domain for a new topic or subject matter? Yeah, just put I put up a new site with WordPress on it, and then just whatever content I'm trying to theme around, just put up new content for that topic. That's all I do. Can you explain A class, B class, C class as far as it relates to PBN hosting? We don't really worry about that, Norman, the way we do our hosting now. Check out again, the March, April, May Mastery webinar replays. I covered hosting in the third one. From Steve, when adding links to PBN posts, does it matter which link appears first in the post, the money site link or the authority site link? Thanks. Nah, don't worry too much about that, Steve. From Chuck. I have some old websites that I didn't have privacy enabled, and I might want to use them as part of my PBN. Can I enable privacy now, or does Google store the old information? You can enable them now, Chuck. From Jay, hey Greg, I'm still fairly new in OMG, like less than a month, and I think I'm getting the hang of most things now. My question about DAS and social accounts is, do we use the same social accounts if we create more DAS clusters, or do we have to make new social accounts for new DAS clusters? Jay, I would probably ask that to Jimmy in one of the Network Empire webinars. I don't mess with DAS a ton. I just do very basic forms of it. From Renita, I have a keyword that bounces around a few positions after I send a PBN link. How do I know if I send a banned link, what is a severe drop? Renita, I don't know how long you're talking, but that's pretty normal. I see a lot of bouncing too. A lot of people do. It's normal. I mean, how do you know if you send a bad PBN or a bad link? If it decreases over, like if it continually decreases, or it decreases and it stays there, then that could be a sign of a bad link. From Michael, I watched the video about EMD anchor text. If it was a partial EMD, would you treat the anchor text the same as full EMDs, or would you be more aggressive? I would probably treat it pretty similar, Michael. Yeah, partial I'd treat pretty similar. From Darren, I'm looking at, and even Michael, even if it's not an EMD or a partial, I mean, that works across the board, what I was talking about. Like, if you got like gregsite.com, even if you don't have the an EMD or partial EMD, if you're trying to rank for Nashville SEO and you start doing stuff like this, that's going to help you rank very well for Nashville SEO. It just works better when you're a brand. Of course, you would want to mix in, like URL link, maybe website, stuff like that. Click here. But as you do this stuff, even with like a branded site, it's going to help you rank very well for that term. And of course, you'd want to do Nashville SEO by itself, But the same thing applies to non-EMDs. This works very well to help you rank for this term that you're doing this with. When looking at potential PBNs to buy, if the anchors are not related to your theme, will that put you off buying it? No. So you are ideally looking for anchors of brand, site, URL, name. I'm just looking for real links. Again, we covered how I look for PBNs in March, April, May Mastery Webinar 3. Can you use Social Explosion on your money site? Yes, and I do usually. From Charles. Besides using Social Explosion, is there other methods of boosting the DAS stack? Is there other methods of boosting the DAS stack? Yeah, I'm sure there is, Charles. Again, I would talk to Network Empire about anything DAS. That's more their cup of tea. Alright, what are the most effective or important social properties to have outside of Facebook, Twitter, YouTube? I mean, I don't know. I mainly just make sure I have Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Google+. I mean, outside of that, it's up to you. It just depends how far you want to take it. I wouldn't say there's necessarily like a most important list for me, but the more important the site is, the more properties I'll get. How can you get Social Explosion to spread out the links to different pages of your site rather than all on the home page? You got to use the RSS feed, Larry. They got directions on that. Charles, do you recommend sending PBN links to press release site as a Web 2.0? I mean, you could do that. Same kind of thing. Just a lot of press release sites might not have as high domain authority, so just be aware of that. Steve, in your last mastery webinar, you talked about now putting PBN sites on the same host as an add-on domain, but only link to one site to one money site. Can we also have money sites on the same hosting accounts with the PBNs, but as long as they're in different niches and don't the PBNs on the same hosting? Thanks. Yeah, that should work, Steve. Again, just make sure you're not stringing anything together. Make sure you don't accidentally mess something up there, okay? But yeah, typically you can do that. Just be careful with not messing anything up. From Darren, when you recommend theming, are you referring to the post or the whole PBN theme? I'm referring to the content on the PBN. Since you treated the Facebook and other social properties of national SEO like a money site, not as much as I do now, Yasin. We were more aggressive with them because they were done a couple years ago. But yeah, I would treat that a little differently if we did it now. We were more aggressive with them. From Steven, first of all, sorry for the long-winded question. It's alright. Brought a couple PBN a couple months back. Did all due diligence to make sure it wasn't spammy. It was indexed when I got it. Sent one link to a money site after a couple weeks. The money site going live. Links never showed up majestic. It looks like it's de-indexed. I've been looking all over to try to figure out why. Finally looking in the Wayback Machine, noticed that the latest crawls just before I bought it revealed a page in Japanese. Webmaster Tools alerted me to this originally with some errors in structured data. Can this be remedied? Should I wait a little longer or just give it up? Don't want to waste more time if it's irreversible. However, I'd like to learn something from this if I can. Typically, I don't try to remedy that, Steven. Depends how old the site is, how important it is, and how many links it already had to it on what I'm going to do. If it was the first link to the site, you have to be careful with that because if the first link you send to a site is a questionable link or a penalized link or from a penalized site, it could create a mess. So you might want to create a new domain if that's the case. Just copy over the content. But if the site already had a good amount of links going to it, and it was already, that one link isn't really going to do a ton, I would just go in, delete the post, and move on from that site. Okay, from that PBN. So it just depends on what your situation is there on what I'd do. Alright, from Eric. You're welcome, Eric. In your new EMD ranking video, you were speaking only about PBN's links directly to the money site and not to upper tier social properties like a DAS usage. Yes, I was talking directly to the site, Eric. Would we get the similar results if we sent PBNs to social tier 2? Somewhat, Eric, but not as strong. I mean, nothing's as strong as sending links directly to a site. But yeah, I mean, you're going to get it'll be the same type of deal, just not as strong. That's all, in my experience. From Steve, should we create a separate new IFTTT account for each PBN and each money site, or is it a footprint if we use one for all, or even for money sites and one for PBNs? Steve, I typically do different for each, just in case. I don't know what type of rabbit hole that can lead into, so I typically just do different for each if I'm using that. Is there any mobile-friendly themes on WordPress for free? Good question, probably for Fletch, Eric. Or in the Facebook group. You might get an answer there immediately. From Laura, I watch your videos about testing domains for penalties, and you said that those tests don't work for sites that have hyphens as part of the domain name. Not that they don't work, Laura, it's just it seems a little off with sites that have dashes in them. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I have some sites that have multiple hyphens. Do you have a workaround penalty check for domains with hyphenated names? No, I don't. Those domains just act weird sometimes, Laura. I don't know why yet. So, I mean, one thing you can do, Laura, actually, is create a longer title, like a long weird title, and test it that way. So if you have Greg's Nashville SEO.com, a site like that with 2 dashes, create a title that you can test with. So your title will be something maybe like the Prestige. Bull marketing. Cabin for SEO. That's stupid, obviously, but how many people are going to how many sites are going to show up when this title is put in? Not many, right? So that's actually go see. $262,000. I mean, so if you have this exact title, if you're not penalized, you should probably be showing on the first page for that, and most likely number one if it's really healthy. Depending how many links are going to it, of course. You know, my type of PBNs that I get, my site would be first for this in most cases. Or if it was at least first page, then I'd be like, okay, it's fine. But I typically would want to see even a first spot there for this. You know, that of course that would make me feel best. But if it was down like number 8 or something, I'd be good with that. I'd be like, all right, because again, Google just won't rank a site first page or even second or third usually if it has a strict penalty on it. So you can create a longer title and kind of do a title check like that. You know, just do like a weird title like that that not many people are going to have. Or you can even do like add like a weird word in there, like I don't know, like super callous. I don't know, just crazy stuff like that. Where you're not going to get a ton of competition, you can just throw in that title and do a check like that. All right, from Carl, how strong is the boost you get from vKraken? Can it bring your site from second to first page? It depends on the niche, Carl, I guess. I don't mess a ton with vKraken unless I'm doing just kind of messing with Social Explosion with vKraken on a subdomain. So I haven't tested like a ton with that. Alright, sorry, I got a text. Where were we? Alright, Jamie, thanks for new EMD video. Amazing stuff. Thanks, Jamie. I have a partial EMD, mycityseoconsulting.com. Should I treat this as a brand, my anchor text, etc., like you showed with an EMD? Jamie, yeah, I mean, again, you can kind of treat it like again, it's going to work either way. You know, I erased it, but I had, you know, Nashville SEO, marketing company, stuff like that. Even if you don't have the keywords in the domain, this is going to work very well. So you can kind of treat it the same all around, whether it's an EMD or not. It's just if it's an EMD or partial match, you have to be a little more careful with how much you're doing it because you're more open to over-optimization, all right? But typically you're going to do the same thing. All right, from Renita, how do you rank a site that has multiple locations and services? Example, Dallas Wedding, Plano Banquet Venue. Do you direct links to particular pages or try to power up the whole site by sending links to the front page? If there is a webinar or lesson in this, feel free to point me to it. Both, typically, Renita. If you're going after like a site like that, typically you're going to silo it in most cases. And then, you know, linking to specific pages will, of course, help rank the most for that term, but it's also going to power up that entire silo because of the way that the links are set up. And, of course, saying to the site, links to the home page is going to, you know, boost up the whole site as well. So, I mean, both is the answer, Anita. You know, I'm sending links to the front page for whatever the front page is supposed to be ranking for, and then the inner pages for whatever they're targeting. So I do both. And it's just going to help all around. Christina, now for those sites that I asked about, I have found some sites that from the last SEO who made copies of the WordPress site, same content and structure, different URL. Any idea if that is hurting them rankings or will it hurt them? If the previous copies are still out there, Christina, that could hurt the site. Usually the higher domain authority wins that battle. If you know, same content, the higher domain authority property will win the same content battle. So, you know, it depends. It could hurt them if the other content is still out there. From Laura, I thought you couldn't use the content from an expired site because it is copyrighted of the original site. Or you're not supposed to, Laura. You're not supposed to. I should have mentioned that. You're when you get a new domain name at auction, you're just getting the domain name. You're not getting the content But most people, they just don't care. They don't want the site anymore. They don't care about the content. So I mean, that's a great line. Depends if you want to use that or not. Typically if there is a problem, they'll contact you and say, you need to take down that content. I've actually never had that happen. But I mean, that's what's going to happen if someone doesn't like it. All right, from Eric. Regarding your EMD ranking strategy, I have a local lead gen site that is an EMD. I gave the local business a business name, and it happens about 3-4 times throughout the copy. Would you recommend keeping the business name, or might it be better to change the business name to only be the same as the EMD for branding and better ranking purposes? I don't totally understand the question, Eric, but from what I'm seeing, there would be no reason to change the business name because what I just talked about. You can make this work with anything, like whether it's gregsnashvilleseo.com, for this would be the name of the site. This would be anchor text. This is going to work. Um, this is going to work whether it's Nashville SEO is in the domain or it's not. If you for either of these domains, this is going to work very well for Nashville SEO. They're going to give you a lot of credit for that. You'll get more credit for it if it's in your domain name, of course, just like any other case. But again, you have to be more careful of over optimization, right? So this would be a little more risky, a lot more risky for this site than it would be for this one because the keywords aren't in the domain name. So, it'll work better for this one, but you got to be more careful with over optimization. It won't work as well for this. It will still work very well, but just not as well. But this would probably be a safe. This would be a safe start for this domain here. All right. It would probably be safe for this one too, but it's just a little more risky. That's all. For Matt, I have some PBNs pointing to an old money site page. If I want to link out to a new page, should I remove the PBN article and link and add a new one, or can I 301 redirect the old page to the new one? You can 301 the old page to the new one, Matt. That's usually what I would do in that case. From Ben, PBN Reloaded question: Network Empire has discontinued the page post plugin. According to Russell Wright, the plugin is not needed because you can make a post sticky inside of WordPress, but this does not deal automatically with adding each new video post from vCracker on the homepage. Any workaround? Yeah, Ben. You make the post a sticky, okay? And then from there, you set up vCracken, right, to post automatically. And then you go to your reading settings in WordPress. It's like settings reading, and you set only 2 pieces of content to show on the home page. So that means the sticky post, which is your PBN post, will always be showing. And then every time a new video comes up, it will just bump up the old video because there's only 2 posts showing on the home page. The videos aren't sticky, so every time you get a new video, there's going to be a new video showing on the home page, and it's going to bump off that old video, and then your sticky post would be showing. Now, if you want to do another PBN post, you would increase the amount of posts to show on the home page to 3 in your reading settings, and then you would create the second PBN post, make that sticky as well, and then, of course, do the same thing with vCracken. All right. Carl, how many % of branded and generic anchor text is recommended, and is there a difference for EMD and PMD? Yeah, again, that depends totally on what type of domain it is, Carl. We talked about that a lot in the first March, April, May Mastery webinar. There's not really a % that you need for branded and generic, like a set %. And again, it also depends on the name of the domain. I went over examples of that kind of in the first webinar. So if my anchor text is different each time, but each anchor text has the keyword I want to rank in the anchor text, then I'm fine, correct? I mean, right now, chances are you will be a sin, but that's something that I could see them very easily discontinuing in the future. So what he's talking about is like, if you got like Nashville SEO company, marketing in Nashville SEO, so each of these would be different anchor text. Nashville SEO. Find Nashville web design and SEO. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but we have Nashville SEO in each one. So what he's asking is, would you be fine to do this? And the answer is you would probably be totally fine right now. But I could see them. I should actually change this because this actually is a lot more safer than having it like this. But it's in every single one, but it's not the same anchor text. Right now, you'd probably be fine even with this site. Of course, you'd be in more danger with this site because you have Nashville SEO in the domain name. But for this site, you would definitely be okay right now doing this. I can tell you that for sure. This one, you would probably be fine as well, probably. But of course, you run into a little more chance because it's in the domain name. But over time, I can see them looking at this and kind of cutting down on this working. Even though they're different anchor texts, you have the keyword in every single one. That could start to be that's something that could very easily be changed by Google. Where they look at the whole picture more and they say, okay, he has 7 links. All 7 have the keyword in it. That's we're going to penalize this. Right now, they're not doing that for the most part. But that's something that I think they could easily work into their algorithm. So I'd just be careful of doing that for anything that's a long term. Can you quickly go over how to test the PBN again? Again, Renee, that's webinar number 1, March, April, May Mastery. Octavio, your thoughts on .info TLD? Are they weaker, as they say? Yeah, I think they're a little weaker in my opinion. Hyacinth. Customer gave me about 15 whiteboard videos to optimize for them. It's the mortgage niche. Will the YouTube on-page optimization alone work, or should I also use the Fiverr guide recommended? It depends how long tail the keywords are. If you upload them like Joe shows, Joe Marfaglio, in Wirecast, it will be a big help for the rankings. But yeah, it depends how long tail the keywords are. And if it's for a client, typically I'm not going to use Fiverr. I'm going to use PBN type links. From Jordan, do you think Google is beginning to take into consideration text before and after anchor text or hyperlink? Example, Nashville is a great research company to use. Go here for more info. Yeah, I think they've been doing that for a while, Jordan. And I always kind of, when I'm doing URL links, I will do stuff like that where I have the keyword before, the URL link or the generic link. So yeah, I always do that just in case. But that's not something I know for sure. Alright, for the over-the-shoulder guide, the home page is the page you are trying to rank for. In this situation, you can build high DA properties that we can point to the PBN as a keyword anchors to these social properties point to the page we are trying to rank for. If you were trying to rank for an inner page in Iowa City Guide, would you just build other high DA social sites to the inner URL and then point PBNs to them? Typically, yeah, Matt. That's what you do. From Theo, how do you go about future linking for your PBNs? Is it makes sense create salad pages to add some keyword relevance to your money site away from the main PBN homepage? I just make a post relevant to what I'm posting about, Thea. That's all I do, just like I show. I'm not totally sure what you're asking there. From Jay, do I have to theme every PBN that I send to a money site, or is doing themes only recommended for the money site PBN? It's more safer to theme your PBNs, guys, I would say, for the long run. But obviously, as I showed in that example, you don't have to do that for it to work. From Peter, is a Moz spam score 7 out of 17 very bad for a PBN site? Would you use it? I haven't looked too much into the My Spam Score yet, so I can't answer that. When using subdomain, do it help to rank? I don't get that one either. I mean, there's certain stuff about subdomains and Network Empire can tell you a lot about. I don't use them too much, though. I do not fully understand DAS. I thought DAS was sending links to another links and so on. In one of the DAS videos, you and Jimmy sent links to a PBN tag URL and also the URL post page, so I could use that method for a Web 2.0. Yes, you could, Yasin. Are you using Spider Spanker on your PBNs? Yes, when the host allows me to. From Clint. When you build out a new site that's not EMD, do you hit with exact anchor PBN links first, or do you set up social accounts first and then PBN links? Basically, which links do you start with? I mean, typically you want to start with social if you can first, Clint. But when I start sending my PBNs, usually if it's branded, if it doesn't have the keyword in the domain, I'll start with exact anchor. Simple question: I am buying some links from linksmanagement.com or links management. When I do, how can I force an indexing update of the site I bought links on, especially necessary for internal pages? I've never dealt with them, John, so I'm not sure. I think my hyphenated site is hosed. If you have time, can you check it? We still have a lot of questions, Michael, so I might be able to get back to that one. Again, just create a long title, Michael, and check it that way. Give it a few days to index and then check it. From Octavio, when choosing our anchor text, we should use partial match anchors, and sometimes we can go get partial match anchors that also have a good MS. So my question is... Alright, so if I have a brandname.com website, how exactly should I make anchor text? I wanted to rank my city SEO. Can I just do SEO city, city SEO, SEO city company? Would those anchor texts get my site penalized? Again, check out the first webinar. You guys got to check out these March, April, May Mastery webinars, alright? Because I covered a lot of this stuff in there, and I think it will really help you guys out with that type of stuff. SEO splitting would be with Cotton Grammar. From Larry, this might be a Network Empire question, but what do you think? I just got one feed supercharger. When you first start using it, when you add your first feed, are these feeds supposed to be individual articles on your blog, or are we adding a block of articles on our site and telling it something relevant? Yeah, I would ask Network Empire that, Larry. Before I got into MG, I built my site with categories of articles. Would that be considered siloing? Not necessarily, Larry. Not necessarily. Again, at Network Empire, I could talk more about that if you wanted to, but it's not necessarily siloing because of the structure on page. From Carl, is long-tail anchor text, including the main keyword, a lot less powerful to boost the main keyword compared to anchor text with just the main keyword? It depends on the trust of the site, Carl, and also your current anchor text. Sometimes it can be just as powerful, and sometimes not. It just depends what current anchor text you have. Is the anchor text coming from the title of the PBN? The anchor text is the text of the link you're sending, Larry. From Mamadou, you're welcome. The question is that I have, Larry, the linking I did watch a couple of times the last webinars you did regarding to the topic, but just would like to have some clarification. I have 15 PBNs. Would like to know how many times would it be safe to link to the same, to those PBNs of two different city SEO sites that are on different hosting and targeting different towns. How many times, I don't know, Mamadou. If you're linking to them together a decent amount, make sure you're adding in a lot of authority links and different authority links to just make it more unique. But I'm pretty careful with that. I mean, you don't want to do it too much, just to be careful. You'll probably be okay, but the more you do it, the more risk you're putting yourself in, that's all. Are there any alternatives to Social Explosion if you want to utilize the PBN Reloaded strategy? I mean, creating your own stuff for Nita and just posting manually, which is going to take forever. You're welcome, Eric. Are the benefits of going with CottonGrammar.com as opposed to MyCitySEO.com that you are less likely to over-optimize your keywords within your content and that you have greater flexibility to expand to different areas and rank the same site in multiple areas? Example, yes. Before you give your example, I can say yes, definitely, Stephen. That's definitely the advantages. So yes, Steve, without even seeing your examples, that you had that exactly right. From Charles, does anchor text point to the web 2.0 taken into consideration when that website anchor when consideration to the website? Again, Charles, what I do is I just treat it like a website, okay? And that's kind of just the best way to stay out of trouble long term. So, treat your linking to your Web 2.0s the same as you're treating your money site. All right, long question here from Celine. There is something that I still don't understand when it comes to dealing with a partial match domain. I created a MyCity SEO website, example CelineSEO.com, and Web 2.0 properties, Facebook, Twitter, Yelp. All the properties are branded. I have links from PBN that go to Web 2.0 properties. I use anchors like City SEO Company, Facebook page of City SEO Expert, City SEO. In your last March, April, May Mastery webinar, you talk about siloing and how having your keyword in the URL can help improve your ranking, of course. I wonder if I can change my website architecture and create a silo. Example, SEO City. How does it work? How does the juice flow from my PBNs to my PBN link to my Facebook, Twitter, but these pages link to the main domain? Do I have to change the website URL associated with these Web 2.0 properties and use the city instead? That is a confusing question. So I'm just trying to understand this question. Okay, Celine. A good person to ask this question, Cotton Gratmer. Because I mean, you go look and he's ranking for Chicago SEO. He's ranking for Tokyo SEO, Orlando. I mean, he's ranking just in tons of places. And he used this method. He used a lot of like social properties to this particular pages. So if you want like a short confirmation on that, ask Cotton, because he has the exact formula for that with his Cotton Grammar site. That's like the most up to date example we have with that. So try asking that to Cotton. From Laura, is it advisable to use vCracker on a siloed site with multiple themes and videos in different niches, or is it best to only have one theme per site? vCracking question, again, I will give the Network Empire Laura, just because I don't use it a ton. I mean, I typically use it for PBN reloaded type stuff, and then on a subdomain with Social Explosion, if I'm even going to do that. So anything outside of that, I just don't have the testing data for, Laura. Alright, from Steve. I have two PBNs that I added who is privacy to, but when I check the who is in, look it up, it's still showing my name as a registrant. One domain is with GoDaddy, the other one is with Melbourne IT. What can I do to change? It's funny, Steve, because I just had the same problem. Yesterday I changed it, Melbourne IT, same company. Yesterday I changed it, and today it's still showing my name, so I haven't made the post yet. It's still sitting there as a draft on my PBN. So I'm just waiting for it to kick in. I mean, typically it shows right away. GoDaddy usually always shows right away for me, at least within like 10 minutes. So that's a little weird. But Melbourne IT, it just might take a little bit, and I'm going through that with you right now. It's a domain I forgot. I did my double check, saw I forgot to do privacy. Put on privacy yesterday, it's still not showing. So I'm just waiting it out. If it doesn't change within a day or two, I'll just contact them and say what's going on. Is it still safe to rank YouTube videos with Fiverr? I heard Cotton said he doesn't use Fiverr for anything link related. Should I just treat everything like a site for now, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Typically, yeah. I mean, if it's an important project, I'm not using Fiverr for linking, just like Cotton. If it's something that's not as important, affiliate or anything like that, testing, then I can mess around with Fiverr. If you use a keyword by itself and then use it with an apostrophe on the same page, would that be considered over optimization on that page? Example, a good keyword. I've never tested that, John, so I'm not sure. But I mean, it would probably be counted typically the same thing. If we want to rank an inner page, it will be hard to use PBN Facebook as shown in over shorter series, as Facebook will point to the home page, not the inner page. How would you point PBN's social properties to the inner page? What social accounts would you use? Yes, so this question is kind of coming up. This is kind of the same question that Celine had. And I mean, you can just create new properties to rank to that inner page, and then do the same thing. You know what I mean? I mean, this kind of answers Celine question too. But if you really want an in-depth answer, you can talk to Cotton. But you're just going to create new properties to link to the inner page. You know what I mean? And kind of brand them more towards what the inner page is about. So if the home page is about St. Louis SEO, like Cotton Grammar, you're going to create properties that are linking to the home page with St. Louis SEO. If it's something that's linking to an inner page like Chicago SEO, you're going to create properties that basically have Chicago SEO. All right. You're welcome, Renita from Tony. Came in late. Apologies if you covered. When you did the 4 Pillars webinar on the anchor text, you said links should have the anchor text in them as the money site. But I feel my anchor text for the pages of my money site are not good. You also said not to change. What should I do? New links, Tony. New links with the proper way. From Octavio, let's say our main keyword is FIFA 2015 Tricks, and FIFA 2015 Tricks PS has also good MS. It's better to choose this keyword instead of a general one like best FIFA 2015 Tricks, for example, right? I mean, yeah, the exact keyword is going to help you move more, but even this is going to help you move for both of these. Because, I mean, both of these have FIFA 2015 Tricks in them. So it's going to help you move. This right here will help you move for both of these. But using the exact one will usually help you rank the best for that particular keyword. You're welcome, Joanne, from Gene. You mentioned on a previous webinar you were texting Social Adder. What is your opinion on it? Would you recommend it? So far, Gene, I haven't seen much out of it, to be honest. I actually got to go back and check some of those tests. I haven't checked them in about a month. But when I checked, I didn't really see anything, Gene. They're actually still running, too, so I should go back and check that. From Yasin, if I was linking to the inner page and the inner page has a keyword I want to rank for, can I send an anchor text like this? Keyword. Yes, Yasin. You can do that. If it's the first link, it's a little risky, but most likely it's still going to be totally fine. But it's just if it's the first link you send, it's just a little riskier, that's all. But in most cases, you're going to be totally fine doing that. Right, so let me get these last questions, and then we'll get rolling. Always got my son at 2:30 on Mondays, so. Alright, let's see. I need to cancel my ASU hosting account because of the recent Google developments. How do I go about moving my PBNs to another hosting company? You can just sign up for a new company and transfer the files over. If you don't know how to do it, you can pay them to do it. But ASU hosting still works, Hyacinth. I covered this in that March, April, May Mastery webinar. You just can't send any links from the ASU hosting account to the same money site, that's all. From Thane, hey Greg, I received a notice that Google's rolling out a new algorithm April 21st, 2015 for mobile-friendly devices. What do you know about this? Not a ton. I know Cotton and Fletch know a ton about it. But, I mean, from what I understand, what it is if your site is not mobile-friendly, you're going to go down in the mobile rankings. That's the gist of it, from what I understand. Steven, when Google launches their updates, mobile update, does it typically happen quickly that the offending sites are affected, or is it drawn out in a matter of time before all sites are affected? It depends update to update, Steven. Sometimes you'll see it pretty quick. Sometimes you won't. Just depends on the update. Like a Penguin update that happened, it literally took like 2 months to fully kick in. So this one, I'm not sure how long it's going to take. From Yasin, if I have an interpage URL with different city SEO, like URL Miami SEO, should I make a Facebook, Twitter for that exact inner URL page because my homepage is targeting a different city SEO? Again, talk to Cotton about that because he's done that exact thing on that scale. From Jordan, if buying a domain and when you do a site check to make sure it's indexed and the homepage is not showing up, its subpages are, is there a potential issue with this site? There could be. I haven't seen that a ton with my sites. But I mean, usually if a site has a strict penalty, Jordan, it won't let any page on the site show up like that. So if it does have something, maybe it's like over optimization or something like that, which I wouldn't be a ton concerned about. I'm more concerned about like spam penalties, which are the the stricter penalties. So maybe if you want to be safe, just use it for linking to Web 2.0 or something like that. But it should be okay. Not positive because I haven't seen that a ton. Alright, so I'm going to get these last few and then we'll get rolling. I'll get this recording over to David. Is it okay to add the no-file attributes to links a month after the fact? I've never messed with that, Michael, so I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure it's fine to do, but I've never really messed with that. Laura, thank you. Appreciate that. You guys are welcome. Alright, 2 more questions. Spencer, I have registered a domain for a PBN about a month ago. Haven't done anything. Is it okay to use the domain? Heard something like you have to do something immediately after registering. No, you can still use it. It's fine. Just do the penalty checks on it we talked about in that first March, April, May Mastery webinar. From Yasin, would it help my money site move up if I use all my PBNs linking to another PBN to boost DA? I'd never use PBNs linked to PBNs. Or I shouldn't say never, but unless I'm testing. Because that can just create a whole web of footprints, if you're not very, very careful. So I don't really typically mess with that. Alright, guys, so I'm going to end this webinar here. That's all the questions. I'll get this recording over to David. And then, of course, again, if you haven't watched the March, April, May Master webinars, please watch them. Because we cover a lot in them. The most important stuff that I use for ranking was covered in all 3 of those webinars. So just make sure those are checked out. Alright, guys, I will see you all next Monday. Have a good day.